welcome to BCTV tonight.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
We've had some technical difficulties the day before, but we're back and we're going to do this.
That's right.
All right, first of all, Darnell, you used to be a gang member out here in Buffalo before you started doing stuff in the community. Talk to us about your time as a gang member and what it was like for the gangs during the period that you guys were out here in Buffalo, New York.
Well, it was a lot of different than what they call gangs today. I'm from the Jefferson Projects, Tower Mall Projects. They're Frederick Douglass Towers now on Jefferson and Clinton. And I was the president of the Pythons when we came up in the 70s, and the mid-70s, and my brother then was ahead of us in the early 70s and late 60s. And it was like a turf thing. You know, we had like from Broadway back down to Swan Street, and then different gang members, different territories. People claim different turfs and stuff like that. So it was like a territorial thing back then. Instead of like today, you got different streets and they call posses and stuff like that.
Okay.
Let's
see. Take us back to when all the local street gangs united to form the New Visions Unlimited.
Well, what was happening back then is the same type of things that's happening now, where there's so much black-on-black killings and stuff like that, and somebody have to intervene and let them know that this is not how it should be, and that we have to find unity among each other in some form or fashion. And that's what we do now. We try to go to the communities, bring the guys together off the corners, provide alternatives for them, give them hope and a sense of a change in their life, and be a father, uncle figure to them, big brother figure, whatever it may be, to try to stop the killing. Last couple of years, we've been pretty successful putting our messages out in the street. We get a lot of backlash, from the politicians and the police. Don't like the way we do things and don't like the type of people that we're dealing with, because those are the elements in the street that commits the crimes and make it unsafe for us to walk the communities and stuff like that. So who's better to go after except the ones that's committing the problems?
Talk to us about what was it exactly that inspired you to become a community activist?
Well, I came up through the gang life, and then after that I got into the fast life with drugs and guns and stuff like that. And I went through the 80s and just living in the fast lane, and all the way up to the 90s until like 1990, and I had caught gun charges and back-to-back on gun charges and stuff like that. There was a lot of killing going on in the community, and I had felt insecure about things I was doing. So we had to do, we do what you got to do to protect yourself when you're in that type of life. I went to prison in 1991. I came home in 1994, but when I was in prison in 1990, through them couple years I was in prison, there was so much killing going on in the city. Every time I call home, every time I write home or somebody write me, Darnell such and such got killed, such and such been murdered, and things of that nature. So what I did when I was upstate, I had started an alternative to violence program inside the prison, because there was so much violence going on inside the prison. It was just as worse as it is out here. And so I said, somebody need to bring these brothers away. So I figured that maybe this was a calling from God to place me into this prison to help these brothers that was in here. And that's what I did. I was able to unite the brothers inside the prison. I won the confidence of the prison officials. I was working outside the prison in all white neighborhoods in the mountains and the hills and stuff like that among their kids. So it was a lot of trust that they had built up in me when they seen that how I had turned these inmates around. It was inmates that was in there 5, 10 years, had never been to church before, didn't care about nothing but killings and doing what they had to do to survive. Don't have a lot of people who send them letters and send them commissary money. So what they do, they prey on other people, and the same thing that they do in the street, they do in jail. And by me starting that program, and it was successful in jail, I brought it home with me in 1994. And that's when I started Brothers and Sisters Alternative Violence Program.
Right, that was at the Lake Club, etc. on Genesee Street.
Yeah, the former Club, etc. on Genesee Street. It was a teenager girl, 15 years old, Tamika Lipscomb, had got gunned down in there. She had got caught in there with with the wrong ID on her, so they was asking her to leave, but she called a cab, and in the process of waiting for the cabs, a disturbance happened inside. Some of the guys left the bar, went to their car, got guns, came back shooting at the police officers that was at the door, and they hit the girl by accident. So instead of letting them open the bar back up, I talked with the owners of the bar, and I convinced them to give us the building to open up a youth center, to bring the kids in off the corner. It was a very successful center. Within the first month or two, we brought in like 200-300 kids right off the street, and it seemed like that's when I started having problems. when
Yeah,
we
well,
started to clean up the neighborhood.
yeah, and what kind of support, may I ask, did you get from the community at large, particularly the black community?
From the community, the immediate community, the kids that I was serving, their parents was giving me a lot of respect. They were giving us support. As you know, most of the kids I deal with is the at-risk youths who a lot of times maybe parents might be on the welfare, or one single parent families and stuff like that, where their father or mother might be incarcerated, or their mother might be single and work so many hours to make something for them, and she don't have time to spend with them, so they end up in the peer pressure, which gets them involved into the gangs, to the drug sellings and stuff like that. And so that's what I did. I got a lot of support from the community, but like I said, most of the people that were supporting me was poor people who really couldn't support me monetarily, but they would support me physically. And the only politicians that supported me was David Collins, Clifford Bell, at that time in 1994 and 95, and then soon after, Dave Collins lost his office to Byron Brown, and Cliff Bell retired. Right. And that cut our funding off, you know what I'm saying? So I only lasted like 6 months to a year after that with no funding, so we eventually had to shut down.
We talked yesterday, and you said one of the organizations that also helped you out with your center, who I believe was the Clarkson Center for Human Services.
Yeah, Clarkson Center was real instrumental in providing us with services. They helped us out. Like, we network. I send kids there with their GED. I send kids there for training programs. Mr. Ruffin, Doug Ruffin Sr., was with the owner, and they worked out a deal with me, with Ken Caudry, along with Beverly Gray. And we was going to turn the center into a culinary arts program to bring the teenagers in and teach them how to cook and to place them into the hotels, restaurants, and things in that area. And we were going to move across the street for the youth center and open that up. But then, like I said, Dave Collins lost his office, Cliff Bell retired, and the new jacks that came in, they didn't like my style. They didn't like me because I wasn't proud of them. I wasn't, you know what I mean, ass kissers or whatever you got to be to get that funding. So my funding was cut. And that's what happened.
Okay. Now, currently you have an organization called PYRO?
Yeah, PYRO. It's a political awareness and anti-racism organization.
Talk to us about that organization and what it does, how it got started.
Well, that organization was formed in 1998, and we go after issues like police brutality, economic development with all the construction going on, with the lack of black people working on these jobs. Like the Main Place Mall issue, we thought that was a racially motivated issue to lock the kids out and things of that issue. So the Jonathan Parker trial, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We didn't protest his innocence or his guilt. We protested the fact that this brother was black, that it was 1998, and they served him with an all-white jury. And the trial was unfair. We were there every day. It was just so much things that they did. It was just unbelievable that the judge, D'Amico, and the district attorney, Maruzak, would go to the strength and to use the tactics that they use to convict this man. You know what I'm saying? And then at the end, for a black attorney, John Elmore, and the white attorney, I can't think of his name, but Mr. Harrington, they just straight sold the man out, like gave it to him on a silver platter. When I talked to a couple of jurors after the trial, after the verdict, they told me that they could not reach a verdict, but till the lawyer stood up and said this guy is guilty, that's what convinced them that he was guilty when the lawyer admitted this. Well, they call themselves using strategy to save his life from the death penalty, where they got him life in jail without prison, when they possibly could have had a hung jury, and they had a new trial, and maybe the real evidence would have came out, like probably would come out when it's appeal. I still be in touch with them. I visit them. I did an interview with them that's going to be released periodically.
I look forward to seeing that.
You know, those are the type of issues that we fight.
Okay, talk to us about some of the people, like any particular individuals in particular that you've helped out in the community.
Well, you know, we had a missing young lady, Betty Gaynor, Donna Gaynor, who was missing.
Okay.
She was missing for approximately 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Her family was unable to get support from the politicians, from the police department, or any kind of services that's supposed to help you in times of trouble like this. And at the same time, I was doing the Jonathan Parker trial, so it was a tied-up situation for me at that time because I was down there on a daily basis for like 7 weeks protesting about the all-white jury.
Okay.
And then I happened to come home, and I seen a flyer laying in front of my porch So I thought it was a piece of garbage. I picked it up to throw it out, and I just opened it up because I thought it might have been something from a kid or whatever. They might have needed it, homework or something. So I opened up the package, and it was a flyer. So I just threw the flyer on my desk for like 2 days, 3 days, and it was like my spirit kept saying, man, you got the flyer. You need to call these people because they really need you.
Right.
So right out of the blue, I just picked up the phone, and I called, and I talked to her mother, Betty Gaynor, and she started explaining to me how she tried to get in touch with everybody she could, and nobody would give her assistance or anything. So I started making phone calls. I started knocking on the politician doors. I started knocking on the police commissioner door. I started knocking on the captain of homicides bureau door to find out what's going on. Why we can't get support for this black woman that's been missing for 6 to 7 weeks already. Once I started barking and knocking on their doors, they started getting to look, well, this guy here, he's going to make some noise about it or whatever. So they started calling me back. So we put together a search right away for the immediate area that she was missing at, was on Northland and Fillmore. We put together a search. The police department didn't show up. None of the politicians showed up. I think Don Allen, Jim Goins, and a couple people from his office happened to be at Maddie's eating, and I stopped in there and asked for their support. They did come down. We searched about 100 people, which wasn't nothing. So then Monday, that was on a Saturday, so Monday I started calling Beverly Gray, Byron Brown, Mayor Masiello, Roccadino, Sheriff Gallivan, and all of them, and they started responding, okay, because they know we had started making noise. So then we had another search that Wednesday, and it was like 200-300 people showed up with the sheriff helicopters and all that type of stuff. And we had a successful search, but we didn't come up with the body. But we did have a complete search, and that's what should have been done. Our body was found a couple minutes later on French and Kerr.
Right.
So those are some of the type of people we help doing things like that. A couple families that, been abused by the police department and just rights violated. And, the police brutality is something that the politicians don't touch. They won't touch it.
Yeah, I was going to go to this. Well, actually, go ahead and see what
you know what I'm saying. These are issues that they won't touch. So it takes an organization like mine to really fight these issues because we fight them by any means necessary.
Okay.
Whatever we have to do, we're going to do it. If we got to come on your porch and sleep on your porch to bring your awareness up to we got a problem on this issue, then that's what we have to do. You know what I'm saying? We didn't protest at 74 Franklin. We didn't protest at the Cheektowaga Police Department about the Donnie Fleming's murder. We protested 74 Franklin about a couple things that was happening there with some black police officers, about the police brutality. We marched on Precinct 12, about the Mark Virginia murder and things like that. So those are the type of issues that we attack. We marched on the Lanefield project last year. They had a $5-6 million contract out there, all white contractors, no black contractors. There was one black contractor out there on a job. They found a way to kick him off the job. So we went out there and had to do what we had to do. We got problems with that right now on 3 or 4 different sites.
Okay, and we'll come right back around to that in a few minutes. Talk to us. We'll go back to the police brutality thing, but talk to us about this food op program that you're currently involved in.
Okay, right now I'm currently involved with the Prayer and Praise organization, which is located on Linwood Avenue. It's a men's ministry. They also have a women's ministry located on Bess and Main at that big old church there. Mm-hmm. We also are involved with between 17 churches, about 15 to 17 churches, mostly all from the suburban areas and from out of town agencies that are looking to help inner city people that need food and stuff like that. So they set up a warehouse on Northampton Street, 980 Northampton to be exact.
Right. And
it's a huge warehouse that we set up, and we're in the process now of having our freezers and all this type of stuff moved in where we can preserve frozen products, stuff like that. We have the rich products. They send us tractor loads of food every 2 weeks. All different kind of food places send us major food that we distribute. So right now, we distribute food for every 2 weeks. And what my job really is to reach out to the black food pantries and the black ministries in the area that want to open up food pantries, that want to serve the poor or the needy into the communities, and this is what we do. So right now we have about 50 ministries that's involved with us from the city of Buffalo, from North Buffalo, South Buffalo, West Buffalo, and East Buffalo, that comes every 2 weeks or whatever day we call them. We give them a 24, 40-hour notice to come, and we give them as much as they can carry, as much as they can take, as much as they can distribute, and everything is free. We don't charge for anything. We accept donations because we have to keep the electric going. We have to keep the gas going. We got phone lines put in now, and we're trying to take the building and spread it out. The building is so humongous that we want to open up a manufacturing company on the second floor where we can put young kids to work, maybe making, little things like zippers or buttons or whatever we need to make, for the inner city youth to bring them in, give them some entrepreneur skills and stuff like that. City Mission has a place in there where they're going to start, helping the poor that need stoves, refrigerators, mattresses, clothing, and stuff like that. So, this is the type of stuff that I'm involved in now, which is really important to me because these are the type of people that I like serving because it seems like we are the outcast people and we don't always want us being ignored, you understand? So That's my job,
Okay. If somebody wants to get involved with that program or needs that program in any way, is there like a number that they could call?
Yes, if you want to get involved with it, with the food pantry or the food op program, you can call me at 897-2359, and we're located at 28 Barthel Street, or you can stop by Prayer and Praise. It's on Linwood, on the corner of North, somewhere up in there. It's Prayer and Praise located at Linwood, and you can stop in there, or you can just call me at the number 897-2359. I will give you all the information that you need. It's very simple. You call, we put your name on the list. When our trucks come in, we give you a 24-hour, 48-hour notice that you're going to be here at this certain time. Bring your truck, and you can load up as much as you can take, as much as you can give out.
Okay, and the same would apply with the number if somebody wanted to get involved with your organization, Pyro?
Yeah, same number that's involved with me is Pyro. This is our headquarters here at 28 Barthel Street. It's like an old community house like we used to have back in the 70s and stuff.
Yeah, that's what, when I came in here, that's exactly what it reminded me of.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So you can walk right in off the street.
Right.
You know what I mean? We've been here from 8 in the morning to 8, 9, 10 at night. Some nights we've been here till 2, 3 in the morning. If we get problems, we go on community policing now. The police department keeps telling us that they want the community to work with them, with the community policing.
Okay, we're getting ready to go right back to that issue. From Darnell Jackson's point of view, what's your take on some issues here? Let's start off with the police and their relationship with the African American community. I
don't think there's a relationship between the police and African American community, period. There's no relationship, there's no communication. We have nobody to build the gap that's in these bridges. I did meet with Rockadino recently. I also met with the captain of different agencies for the police department. And, we have a problem with the police. It's not a supervisor issue or a commissioner issue. It's an issue that pertains to the street patrol, where the most trouble is at with the Buffalo Narcotics Department. They getting all kind of warrants to just run up in people's houses. If you notice, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, it was a nut right up in there about my family. How my family has been attacked by the Buffalo Police Department through political ties with David Franzak, his brother Tom Franzak, with the Buffalo Narcotics officer, all the way down to the street patrol officers, trying to do everything in their power to shut me up, shut me down, put me out of commission, stop me from saving our people, and to fight against the elements that exist in our community. When you got police officers that's predominantly white, that's working on a night shift, where mostly the kids are out, and they're coming in from the suburbs. The only time they deal with blacks is when they come to work. They use alcohol. A lot of them be under influence of drugs. I've seen it personally. I've seen it for myself. I've been arrested before by bogus charges. And when I was taken to the precinct, I witnessed some drinking in the precinct, on Precinct 11 on Lovejoy and Bailey. It's one of the most racist precincts in our community, which really patrols this area here where I'm at. It's Buffalo, it's Precinct 12 and Precinct 11. They both mix in, you know what I'm saying? But it's definitely problems with the police in the community. And we got to figure out some kind of way to work with them. Well, they say they want to work with us. We go out for community policing. They harass us. They harass Rosa Gibson when she do community policing. They harass me when I do it. I'm going to court. Matter of fact, I was supposed to go yesterday, but I missed my date, so I'm going to go down there Monday. I was supposed to go. I got tickets.
Can you talk about what that was about? Or?
Yeah, I got tickets because I seen the police, like 6 or 7 police cars, all white police officers, had a black man pulled over approximately 3 o'clock a.m. in the morning when I was doing a little policing myself. And I pulled over to observe, to find out what was going on. They had him face down in the snow. And I stopped to observe to find out what was going on. I was approached by the police officers from Precinct 16 on Bailey Street, and they told me to get to moving. So I told him, why do I have to move?
Right.
I just want to know why all you cops got this black man on the ground 3 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to commit a problem, but I think you guys got the problem because it don't take that kind of force for one man. You know what I'm saying? So he told me I better get to moving before I be down there with him. So I pulled over with the car. I turned the car around and I parked it, and I sat there and I watched him. And I told him, if you want to take me to jail, do what you got to do. By this time, they tell the guy, get up off the ground, get in your truck and leave. He gets in his truck and leave. He gives me the peace sign. I gives him the thumb up. I takes off. Then they all come after me. So they run me off the sidewalk, and they pulls me over. Now, when they get up to me, these are 2 new cops I never seen before. But the other cops that was with them recognized who I was. And they was like, oh, that's Darnell Jackson. They told the other cop, good luck with him. They pulled off, you know what I'm saying, and they wrote me tickets. Say I forgot to turn my blinker on when I turned the street and I didn't have my seatbelt on. Well, I said, when you stopped me, I was getting out the car. They told me to get back in the car at gunpoint. So I gets back in the car. Of course, I don't have a seatbelt. If I'd have reached for the seatbelt, they'd have said I was reaching for a gun. So I just sat there, and they wrote me up with no seatbelt, and I forgot to turn my blinker on when I turned around. So I got to go to court for that. But this is the type of stuff you get, and I identified myself. I told them who I was and what I was doing. You know what I mean? And that's still that's the respect that we get. So if we can't work with the police, what do you think the normal citizens get that doesn't even try to work with them, the respect that they get? You know what I'm saying? It's just awesome, the treatment that we get in this neighborhood. It's really crazy, and I think it's at a point that it really need to be an intervention in between it, maybe with some preachers or some churches or something that need to get involved and stand up to the plate, or some of these black politicians need to don't worry about the contributions they get for their political races and speak on issues that's really happening. You know what I mean? Because these police is actually killing people. I mean, you know, the jails is overcrowded. A lot of people in jail are in jail for bogus charges, bullshit charges that they wouldn't have to waste taxpayers' money on to house these guys down there. Now they want to charge them $40 a day to be in jail. You know what I'm saying? So that's a way of the system making money again. Well, we can go out and arrest more people. We're going to make them pay so we can make more money, and then we can give our police officers raises or whatever they do with that money. You know what I'm saying? Because, police get paid for every arrest they make, they get paid. I mean, their job is already getting paid for their job. Now they get paid for court time. So when Christmas comes, I go arrest me 15 people so I can have me a nice Christmas.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just all crazy, man. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of issues that need to be looked into. But I think Rockadino is doing a pretty good job so far as I can see. And I think that he's really starting to buckle down on these police officers. And I think it's causing internal problems with him and his people at the same time, because they got a guy in there now who's really looking at him. You know what I mean? When they didn't think he was. They probably thought he was one of us, but now he got so much pressure or whatever that he have to clean house some form of fashion, because Buffalo police officers are off the hook, and everybody knew it, just like the educational system. So we have to change somewhere. You know what I mean?
And on that note, let's go to what Darnell Jackson's take is on the local educational system.
Well, with the educational piece, I supported James Harris, and I supported a lot of black community leaders that were down there screaming racism. First of all, if you look at the situation, I think it was blown out of proportion as far as what they were trying to do to Mr. Harris. And I think when the Roots come back, you know what I mean, the roast, they got a problem with it. If anybody should have been disciplined, it should have been on a lower level. You know what I mean? If I run an apartment and something not getting done in this department, then I hold the head of that department responsible. You don't try to take the head of the company off. You know what I'm saying? And I think this is what happened. But he's been having problems since he's been here because he want to do things his way. And it's just like with me. I want to do things my way. I can't do things my way and be successful when I got people that's going to dictate to me and tell me, no, you have to do it this way. So it causes problems, you know what I'm saying? And so I think he runs into the same type of problem on a different level that I runs in on this level. They want to dictate to you, or they don't want to be involved with you, or they want to cut you off and get you out of there. And that's the problem that happened with him. So I think it was a racial issue. Anytime you got all the blacks on this side of the table and you got all the whites on this side of the table, it's definitely a racist issue. And because that's division. And when you divide blacks and whites like that, you know what I mean? It's a racial issue. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. If you want to, you can go ahead and answer your phone.
Hello? Hello? I'm gonna hang up.
Okay. Let's go now to the something you've mentioned before. minority hiring in the local construction industry here in Buffalo?
I got a big problem with these construction jobs that's going on. I got a big problem with our black politicians, with the Apollo project. I got a problem with them. With the School 62 project up on here on Moselle and Fujiron, I got a problem with that. With the police station on Ferry and East Ferry and Fillmore,
right.
we got a problem with that.
Okay, well, since you went down the list, let's start off with the Apollo project, because I know you were one of the people hired for that in their job fair that they had earlier this year. And also earlier today, we had a chance to take a look at the BCTV Tonight coverage of the Apollo Theater groundbreaking and the follow-up that we did on it. So
right.
We can start off with the Apollo Theater.
Well, if you look at this piece right here that was in the Challenger, we were hired for the Apollo Theater job.
Okay.
Evidently, it caused a conflict when my name went up as one of the hirees, and that I was recruiting guys from the streets to get them employment, right? Mm-hmm. I was trying to network with the politicians so we all can just like bring a unity thing in. If you want us to deal with us, then we have to deal with you. If you want to deal with you got to deal with us, then we got to deal with you both ways.
Right.
So I try to break the difference that we have between Byron Brown, myself, and me and Beverly Gray never had too many differences about anything because she's doing her thing. Mm-hmm. But you got a lot of people that's influenced in the political arena, and they're not going to hire guys that don't do political work. In other words, it's called political patronage jobs. And we see a lot of that going on in City Hall, and it's the same thing that's going on in our community. If you don't work for the politicians and do literature drop and kiss their butt, you don't get these jobs. Now, they say they want to make the streets safe and they want to rebuild Buffalo, the city of Buffalo. How can you rebuild the city of Buffalo when you got all these young, unemployed black men and women on the corners?
Right.
Okay? Out here doing what they have to do to survive. When you take the jobs out of the community and you replace them with guns and drugs, then you come up with killings and overpopulations and jails. And this is the problem that exists. Now, if these politicians really meant business, we have a list of guys. Right here, I have a list of guys that want to work. These are all the resumes that we have. I have recruited some of these guys to go to the job fair. They got up 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. They went to 2 or 3 job fairs that Byron Brown and them gave, and haven't been able to prevail on no issues. A lot of these guys are skilled. If not skilled workers, they have experience in doing drywalling, bricklaying, electrical, plumbing, and all this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, I had got word that they had problems with us being hired on these jobs, so they started coming after the guys who supposedly had hired us, which was Don Allen, Jim Goins, Luther Walker, and them type of guys who were dealing with us because they know us, they know where it's like to be, where we come from, and they want to work with us.
Right.
Well, then you got guys like Byron Brown, and I guess his grassroots organization that don't like this. You know what I mean? You got to be a member of grassroots to get these political jobs, or you got to be a member of one of the political offices down there to get these jobs, which I think is unfair because if you look at the newscast and every time they break groundbreaking ribbon cut, the first thing they say, these jobs go to the guys in the community. These jobs go to the women in the community. Well, we don't know no women and no guys in our community that's been hired on none of these jobs. If I take you right now to them job sites, you see all Caucasians. Mm-hmm. They found out that I was bitching about the Apollo Theater job, so they went and picked 2 guys somewhere else, not on the list, and put them in there. So they could say, well, we met our quota. Where did these guys come from? These not the guys that went to the job fair. These not the guys that were signed up at the job fair, that if you didn't go to that job fair, you could not be placed on these jobs. Where are those guys at? You know what I'm saying? So that go to show you, now that they threw these guys in there to just try to keep the fire down because they know we was down there. I was down there last week. I was down there the week before.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did you go down to the Apollo?
Yeah, I was down there. I was down there.
And how many African Americans?
There was no one black down there when I went down there. Not one. There was a black female down there the first time I went. She told me she was getting 2 hours a day. And the only reason they was giving her hours because she was homeless. She didn't have nowhere to stay.
Okay.
She was at the job fair. This is a lady right here in the picture with me.
Okay.
She was at the job fair with me.
Okay.
So she's the one's working. She's getting 2 hours a day. And she's getting like $10.50 an hour when she's supposed to be getting $20-something an hour.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I heard in the last week that they put 2 brothers down there. Where did they get them from?
Okay.
They didn't sign up at these job fairs like they were supposed to hire from.
Okay, because I remember when we were down there doing the groundbreaking back in December, myself and Muhammad Furkan had ran into 2 brothers that were down there.
Yeah, they were down there working. Then what happened to them? They're not down there right now. So what happened? Were they down there just for the groundbreaking day?
I'm not sure.
You know what I'm saying? Go back and check again. Because I'm telling you, I went down there last week and I did not see him. I got a call from some guys that said they seen that their brother got hired. Tracy Jones, he got hired.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? But he wasn't at that job fair.
Okay.
He didn't sign up at the applications where we said, where they told us to be at this job fair or you don't get these jobs.
Okay.
I went there, it was 30 people at the job fair. I bought 27. So how did people find out about these job fairs? Then Betty Grant put it in the Challenger about the job fair. Then they started attacking her. Why did you put this in the job fair? You trying to take the, you trying to get the recognition off it? She said, no, I put it in there because I want my people to know about it. You know what I'm saying? And so we got problems with them, but it's, it's growing and it's growing and it's getting ready to hit the fan because we got people and I got recruiters that I done recruit off the streets that want to work, that's ready to do what they have to do to get jobs, man. So we're going to stop killing each other and fighting each other and we're going to unite. Okay. And we're going to come together. Okay. And people are going to feed us and give us these jobs or ain't nobody going to work in our community. And it's simple as that. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to go to the table with anybody to negotiate and work to help these brothers and sisters out in our community. But I'm tired of them saying that our community don't want to work when these guys are coming out there signing up for these jobs and being ignored because they're not politically connected.
Okay. What about some of the other job sites?
I went up on Fillmore Ferry to the police station. We gave a job. They gave a job fair at Reverend Pridge's church on Ferry Street. That was the last job fair.
Okay.
Only guys that supposed to got hired on that job was guys who signed up at the job fair. We signed up at the job fair. Guys signed up at the job fair. There's none of these guys on the job. I went down to the site last week. They had no blacks on the job. I come back the next day. They got one black guy down in the hole with a shovel, digging ditches. You know what I mean? I talked to the guy who runs that construction job. I talked with him. He explained to me that they got a small workforce. They got a small workforce. Back door. They got a small workforce and this and that we're in city compliance and things of that nature. So what they do, they bring out 5 guys, put one black guy on the job, then they're in city compliance because that's 15%, 20%, or whatever they want to call it. But we don't understand that. Well, this is what they explain to us. But when they get on the news saying we're going to hire from your community, do you think we believe they say they're going to hire one guy? We thinking they talking 20, 30 guys are going to get these jobs. You know what I'm saying? So you hire one black, one Indian, one Puerto Rican, and now we supposed to be satisfied.
What about the Bill Gator side? Now, Bill Gator was someone who fought for minority hiring in the construction industry during the 60s and 70s. Were there any blacks down there?
I went through the Bill Gator site a couple times, and I haven't seen no blacks. I know the one black guy who I was just telling you about, Tracy Jones, who's supposed to be working on the Apollo Theater right now. He was working on the Bill Gator site, but they got him off that job for some reason. I don't know what the holdup is with these contracts. They say it's the city administration that's holding the jobs up and stuff like this. Okay. Now, every time it comes time for blacks to move up or give them a job that they can, afford to support their family, here come all this red tape. They study cutting ribbons, but ain't nobody going to work. So we got a problem with that. Stop promising people things that you know is not going to happen. But it's a political year, and you're going to hear all kind of lies and promises all year long because it's a political year this year. And this is what's going on. But you study playing political games, and our people are study dying. Our kids are being incarcerated from the use and abuse of drugs and killings and from shooting each other because there's nothing else. If you look around right here where this center is at, we don't have one after school activities going on. No after school activities. We don't have no community center in this whole community right here. Not one. If you run outside, our kids have nothing to do. They out here throwing rocks at houses, trying to knock out windows and stuff like this. This is what they get recreation from. We don't have no basketball courts. We don't have no parks. Nothing in this area. We had the same councilman in this area for 14 years. And when we ran against him in 1997, my sister ran, Vivian Jackson. Nobody supported us. No black people supported us, man, because they were scared to go after this white political junkie, David Franzak. You know what I mean? Now we gave him so much hell, he want to run for city council at large. So now we giving him hell for that position. Okay. You know what I mean? But now he's trying to groom some other lady that he know out of his office to run this community. This community is predominantly black now. Why do you still want to hold on to something that don't belong to you? You know what I mean? Right. Or at least be fair about it. Let the people decide who they want in office. They close our polling booths. You know what I'm saying? They put out $7,000, $8,000 worth of filthy literature about me and my family to discourage people from voting for us. You know what I'm saying? They sent the police after us. The judge came after signing warrants illegally and all this type of stuff to exploit my family to keep us from taking that seat. We would have had that seat and our community would be getting services. We don't get no services over here. I have to call the city at large, Beverly Gray, or I have to call James Pitts to get any kind of services over here, whether it's to pick up garbage, whether it's to trim trees. We never got trees trimmed in over 10 years here. I never seen a tree trim around here. I never seen a dust sweep around here. I sweep from here to the corner to keep our streets clean.
And they've been helpful in giving you the service.
They've been helping in doing things like that. You know what I'm saying? And this is why them positions are really needed. The president and the council at large seats are needed when your councilman is ineffective like this councilman is. It's like we don't even have a councilman. And that's for real. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. How would you compare your organization, Pyro, with some of the other activist organizations in the city of Buffalo?
My organization is like no other organization in Buffalo because we touch issues that other organizations don't touch, because if they did, they would have been out there for the Main Place Mall issue. They would have been out there for the Jonathan Parker trial. They would be out here about this crime and drugs in our community. They would be out here talking about police brutality. Those are 4 major issues that was discussed at every summit that the mayor gave last year. Crime and drugs, police brutality, violence in the community, unsafe streets. These are the things, man, that was discussed at every summit that the mayor gave last year. And these are the same issues that's not being touched. Not being touched. So until you get people who are going to come out here and speak for what's killing our people, I cannot support them. You know what I mean? I tried to walk with Charlie Fisher till I found out he was a sellout. You know what I'm saying? And I can't mess with him no more because he sold us out. You know what I'm saying? The same way with grassroots. I try to be all right with them, but I can't because they're a sellout organization. They powerful in the political arena, but they're not doing nothing in our black community. You know what I'm saying? They study fighting against our people to keep the other people in office, which is wrong. Right now, if James Pitts, the Unity Club and the President Club and the grassroots organizations was to come together, put their selfishness aside, put their egos to the side, and come together under one umbrella, and come together and pick candidates from each organization to qualify the best qualified one, and run them, we would have a black Buffalo. It would be just like Atlanta. We would have a black mayor, we'd have a black police commissioner, and we'd have a black everything. Because it's predominantly black city now. You know what I'm saying? But then you got the house niggas and the jealous niggas and these big head people with the big egos that's been in there for 20, 30, 40 years. Political junkies is what I call them. Step aside, let the young people come in, mentor us, teach us, and help us and to make our city grow. Because we got all these black people in offices. Well, look at our community. So it don't matter about the color. So I ain't just all about putting a black guy in this office and putting a black woman in this office. I want to put a person in that office who's going to supply our community with some of the services that's available. So all these millions of dollars of federal money coming in here for different projects, but they just not being used in our community. Why? Why our community ran with black leaders looking so bad? I wish Fontana was over here. I'd like to see North Buffalo councilmen over here. They should alternate their council positions. You know what I'm saying? Every 6 months or every year, they should alternate their councilman positions, and then they have to deal with every community, and then every community would look the same. They never thought about that. They probably did, but it ain't nothing they would speak on. If they had to alternate their positions, then you would be councilman over here for a year. You know what I mean? So you got a year to get that together, then you move on to the next, alternate, or something in that fashion. You know what I mean? You get the same politicians that have been in the area for all these years, like David Franzak, 14 years in this community, and look at this community. It's the worst community in the city of Buffalo. The worst. Economically, it's worse. We have no economic development in plans for the next 5 years in Fillmore District. Why not? They tearing down all these houses. They leaving muddy fields everywhere. Why don't these companies that's coming in here getting these contracts, all these white contractors getting these demolition jobs, why are they leaving our community in such a rut? They burying garbage under the ground. They're not taking it out like they're supposed to. You know what I'm saying? You call the city and complain. They don't come out. So they getting kickbacks or something. Something ain't right. You know what I mean? If you go and cheat the wild, go to North Buffalo, you will never see a field look like that. It'll be green. It'll look playful. You can go and sit in and eat lunch in it and have fun in it. Why do our fields have to be tore up? Them demolition companies are getting so much money, it's unbelievable on all these contracts they're getting. And they making the community look worse than they do with them derelict houses standing up there. You know what I mean? So somebody need to step up and speak on that. You don't get no black leaders to speak on that. They know the problem exists. They know these contractors are pulling shams, scams all day long, but they ain't allowing them to do it. But then they want to charge me up, set me up, let me go to jail for speaking out on issues that they supposed to be speaking on. You got all these powerful black preachers in the community. All these big, beautiful churches in the community. But look next door to them. Look across the street from them. You understand what I'm saying? So our black preachers got to come outside them walls and go to the highways and the byways, man, and preach the word and serve the word. You know what I mean? That's why I can't get involved with some of these black preachers right now. Because I tried, and when you get in there, you have to get in there to really see what they all about. They all about self. No different than these black politicians, man. That's why they get political funding now for these churches. Since when churches got to start getting political funding? Church take care of themselves. If you a God-given church, God gonna provide you with the needs you need. You don't have to bow down to nobody, black or white, for $5,000, $20,000 that'll be gone in 6 months, and then you put this guy in there for 5 years, and he ignore you for them 5 years. The same way they did when they put Maciello in there. Bennett Smith, all the other black preachers, had them in the churches, in the pulpits, getting patronage jobs for their family members. As soon as he got in office, what did he do? Turn right around, told him kiss his butt. And that's what he meant. You know what I'm saying? But then they all want to stand up and come together and say, the mayor ain't correct. The mayor did what he wanted to do. And he used y'all, and that's what you get.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you should have put your own in there, and you wouldn't have to worry about that.
That's right. What was your feeling, what was your position, I should say, on the recent charter revision and the proposed downsizing of the Common Council?
I had a strong feeling against that. And the reason I was against it, it was not to save a job or to say that person shouldn't be in there. You had council members down there who never spoke out on this, like Byron Brown, Robert Williams. You heard Beverly Gray speak out. You heard James Pitt speak out. You ain't hear no other councilmen speaking out against that. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't care about that. You know what I mean? They knew that their job was secure. But they knew the positions that they had was secure, or they got patronage jobs that would have filled in for the jobs that they got. How you not going to fight for your other job, but you going to tell us to get up there and fight for it? So I didn't fight for the jobs. That wasn't my point. My point was, how are you going to cut something without surveying first? When the census be taken, and then you find out the count and the population in our community, then you can see if these councilmen is needed or if they're not needed. You don't put the cart before the horse. You know what I'm saying? Then I looked at it on another issue, another level too. All the years I can remember when I was coming up, we had one council member, maybe 2 black council members, and maybe 1 council at large or president and stuff like that. Now the cards are getting ready to change, where you're going to have a majority black and Hispanic council members, and now it seems like everybody else got a problem with that. So I looked at it on that issue too. Might not have been exactly to that effect, but that's how they was thinking, because they think long term. You know what I'm saying? So now they figuring, we got Madison, we got Ellicott, we might get University back if we get Fillmore. You know what I'm saying? Now we got 4 up there, the council at large and the council president. You know what I'm saying? Now we can get more stuff done in our community because we got votes that we can get, and we don't have to sell out like we do to get little stuff, crumbs of the master table when they get in the whole pie. You know what I'm saying? So until they did their homework, we'll find out what about the census, about what the population count really is, what kind of effect would it have if you would have cut a councilman's seat. What kind of effect would it have? What territory would have been joined together? They never brought none of that to the table. They never brought the ingredients to the table. They only brought the pie, not knowing what's in the pie. You know what I'm saying? And I thought it was wrong. I thought if you want to do it right. Give us the cons and the pros and the cons, you know what I'm saying? Let us know what neighborhoods are going to be affected. Let us know how many people are this councilman going to be. Right now it's hard to get in touch with your councilman. So if you cut one, and that means you got two communities with 1 councilman, I can't see it. You know what I'm saying? Bless you. And they talk about a lot of people leaving Buffalo. I don't see that neither. Not from our community. Our community is overpopulated. You know what I'm saying? They say you got people leaving Buffalo, 90 going west. I don't see it. Where is it at? Take a census, find out if the government need to be cut, and then do things. And then not only that, they came right talking about counting the council seats. What about uniting some of them, consolidating some of the jobs that's down there?
The
you know what I mean?
corporations.
You got corporations, putting them together. You got county doing the same thing that the city do. You got 4 or 5 different agencies in the city that does the same thing. Well, the reason they do that because they make these organizations, they make these programs up to give their patronized people jobs. So they make up titles, they make up departments, and they put people to work who went out there and did work for them doing their political arena, and they waste some taxpayers' money. If you downsize the administration, I think you'll save a lot of money. If you downsize and consolidate a lot of the sewer authority, the water authority, a couple of organizations that, Don Allen's them organization, Matt Brown's in them organization, all this kind of stuff should be kind of like under one umbrella. You know what I'm saying? You got too many commissioners down there, you got too many deputy commissioners down there, and people are still not getting services. So what are all these jobs for? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We should have direct contact to the mayor. Right. We should have to call A, B, C, and D, and then they might not even tell the mayor, so he never hear about the problem that exists. This is what goes on in the police department. These lieutenants and captains that we report to at the precincts, they don't report this to the commissioner, so the commissioner never knows what's really going on. So now we have to bypass them by the chain of command. They say, so now I go directly to the commissioner or to the deputy commissioner and let them know, well, this is the problem that exists. Or whatever you heard or whatever report you got is different than mine. We just bring it to the table and let's put them together and see what's up. You know what I'm saying? And this is what the mayor need to do. He got so many pawns in front of him, he don't even know the game. You know what I mean? He just the king. He got all these pawns doing his work, and they ain't doing nothing. Because they getting paid, they don't care about nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's a shame. And it's the same way with grassroots. They got so many political jobs, man. It's unbelievable. Now, don't get me wrong. I ain't mad about them getting jobs. It's a great thing that they're getting jobs for the people. Well, I don't like people getting jobs with carrots in front of them like a rabbit. You know what I mean? And when you don't jump high enough, you don't get the carrot. You know what I'm saying? And this is what's going on with them, man. They make people work, and they dog people out. And they give them part-time jobs and temporary jobs through the election season. And once the election season over, they lay them off, and they just dog them. You know what I mean? I got a lot of people that used to be in grassroots that comes around and talk about the things that goes on, man. And they need to change their act, man. For really. They really do. You know?
Okay, give us your outlook for this upcoming 1999 election year.
It's going to be a rat race. This election year is going to be a trip. And I am so glad that I'm not really involved in it this year because I kind of like backed out of it. What I really want to do is educate my people, get my people to register to vote, preparing for the 2001 race, which is the mayor race and councilman races that will be coming up. This year here is just unbelievable how everybody's stabbing everybody in the back. If you just take the university race for instance, and just let me give you an example of the university race this year. You got Betty Grant running, and you got Michael Scott, and then you got Ms. Russell, Judge Russell's son, Bonnie Russell running. Now, the problem I got with that is this. You had an all-white Republican in there in 97 who beat out a Democrat in 95. In 97, he ran, and nobody ran against him except Betty Grant. She allowed grassroots to do her petitions, and they ambushed her. The whole city know how they ambushed her petitions and got her kicked off the ballot because they made a backdoor deal with Kevin Hefner, along with the grassroots organizations. This is what they did. They ambushed Betty Grant. They got her kicked off the ballot. Okay, now it's 1999. Betty Grant has still been out there in 97, 98, 99, outspoken on issues that I was telling you about. She's out there on the front line because she's a real activist and a community person. Now she threw her hat into the ring first this year to announce her candidacy. Now here you got Bonnie Russell. Now you got Michael Scott jumping out the woodwork. Where was they at when the white man was running? Why they want to jump out there now and run against their own black sister? This is what I keep telling you about the division, divide and conquer. These are the games that Gorski and Mayor Masiello administration is playing. You know what I mean? With the two candidates that they chosen. Michael Scott worked for the mayor, and so do Bonnie Russell. Why would you take two candidates to run for the mayor to run against Betty Grant? You know what I mean? They're being used as pawns. And these are the type of people that I'm tired of in our community. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never known of Bonnie Russell. I ain't never heard of a Michael Scott as far as any community issues go. You know what I'm saying? I know her husband, Judge Russell. I never heard of Michael Scott. Still don't know about him. All they tell me is some clean-cut kid that worked for the mayor, rides around in the black Lexus all day. So this is the kind of guy he is. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't never heard him out in the street. I ain't never heard him on the news talk about issues in our community. None of that. So where'd they come from? But this is the type of stuff that goes on. You know what I'm saying? And this is what hurt our community when they keep playing games like this. So I will make it be known this year about the university race. I'm going to go after them and let them know that they're wrong what they're doing. You know what I mean? And until we get together and come together, because that money they making, man, they going to make it anyway. And if they was God-fearing people, they don't have to worry about no job. God is supplying whatever they need. Why keep selling out your kids? They're selling out their own kids, man. This is what they're doing because their kids are growing up here. You know what I mean? They're not looking at the 10, 15 years from now. But this is how the white man look at it. Well, we're not looking at it like that. We're looking at tomorrow and today. What about when their kids grow up 15 years from now? And the rut they're going to be in because of decisions that they made today. That's going to come back to haunt them. And that's what they need to think about. So that's what I want to put on their conscience. And that's what I wanted to get them to see. I want them to hear the message that I got to give out. That's a real message from a black man that understands what's going on in this community. I've been there, man. I've been in the gutter. I come from the gutter, man. You know what I'm saying? I know it's like not to have things and not to, see things that you want not to have when I was coming up. We was in the projects, man. We have it. You know what I mean? I know what it's like to have nothing. So that's why when I don't get this political funding, I don't even apply for it since 95. But I survived off the community. And that's why, because there's a real organization here. You know what I'm saying? They can't cut my funding or delay my funding no more so my lights can get cut out and stuff like that no more. I wouldn't allow myself to even be put in a position like that. So I don't put in for county funds, city funds, and stuff like that. I put in for private funds, from private corporations, and deal with churches that's outside our community that got an interest in our community, which is outrageous to have to go that far when we got so many community churches right here. But this is what you do. You got preachers and stuff that's envy of me, jealous of me because they don't want to see me prosper with the things I do. But they supposed to be out here doing these that I'm doing. I should be getting paid for this. You know what I'm saying? But I'm getting paid in my heart because I'm doing what I love to do. So I know eventually my payday will come or whatever. But it'll never be selling out my community. I would never take a paycheck for that. And I want all y'all to understand that y'all need to check yourselves because that money is going to come back to haunt you.
Okay.
You know?
So do you think you'd ever run for political office?
It crossed my mind, but I'm more active where I'm at because I like to stay in the politician's butt. You know what I mean? And right now my organization is growing, it's prospering. You know what I'm saying? We getting recruits, we getting guys coming from all over. We got a lot of young ladies that's coming around now that we're trying to get involved to our program because they got sons and brothers and kids that's in jail that have been shot up, that's paralyzed in jail for drugs and stuff like that, and they can feel where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying? So they know what goes on, and so they're needed in the organization like we got. You know what I mean? A lot of people try to label me as a Black Panther Party, a radical organization, things of that nature. But every time you speak up for your people,
I think that's something you ought to be proud of.
And
wear that as a
needed.
badge of honor.
That's right, and it's needed. It's definitely needed. So they can label me as they want to label me, but I'm going to be out there. Police officers, I love them because I know they protect and serve us. But the crooked ones that I don't. I got a problem with the crooked cops. I don't got a problem with you good cops. So you good cops will never hear about me if you doing the right thing. But when you started doing the wrong thing to my people and to my family and taking it personal like y'all taking it, I got a problem with y'all. So I'm going to start taking it personal too. And I'm going to start doing what I have to do to protect our community and to protect our people. You know what I'm saying? And this is the point we at right now. We're just getting organized. We've been quiet for the last month, but we're getting ready to come loose because, man, we just tired. You know what I'm saying?
I suppose we're going to be hearing from you during the election season.
You're going to be hearing a lot from me during this election season.
Okay.
Maybe not running candidates or supporting candidates, but I will be out there making people know what candidates we think is qualified for our community and what they should expect from these candidates. Mm-hmm. And when they can't do it, you got to get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And this is what you have to do. And this is my job, political awareness. And I'm bringing it back to the community, and I'm educating the community on things that need to be done. And this is what we do. So anybody that got a problem with what I do, they just got a problem with it. I don't care about them having a problem with it because I know if they got a problem with it, they're not doing the right thing. Because we're doing the right thing. I don't do nothing illegal. You know what I'm saying? They done tried everything in their world for the last 3 years to put me back in the penitentiary. They threatened to kill me and everything. You know what I'm saying? All the black politicians know. All these black preachers know. Not one of them came to me and said, Darnell, what can we do to support you? But they calls me on the phone when they need support. And I'll be there for them because there's a difference between me and them. I'm real. You know what I'm saying? And if they want to deal with me, they're going to have to be real or I'm not dealing with them on them issues. If I don't like you, but you got a community issue, I'm going to stand next to you. And we're going to fight this issue. Even though I might not even speak to you, I'm going to be there to support your issue if it's about our kids and about our community. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I come in. That's where I'm different at. We come on any issue that we feel that's detrimental to our people or our community and it's not fair and we just tired of it and we just know what it takes to do what we have to do. So organizing and getting our things in order, this is what we have to do right now. We have about good 150 something members at least right now that I deal with. You know what I'm saying? And you know the killer part about it is that most of my members is like from every different community. So I'm all through the whole city, as far as the east side to the Period Projects, all the way down to Central Park, that area. I haven't went on the west side yet because we haven't got organized over here all the way to the fullest. But I deal with kids in every community. Every community I deal with people. So my word is out there and people know I'm fighting for real and they starting to wake up and they starting to hear me. You know what I mean? And they starting to feel me. So all these guys that was killing each other last year, as you notice, there haven't been that many shootings in the last year or so.
Right, I have.
Because the guys are tired of it, man. You know what I mean? And they killing each other for nothing. And now they see, you kill me, you go to jail for life. You know what I mean? I kill you, your family suffer, my family suffer, and what is it for? Why can't we organize, provide, and march on this city, shut down these job sites, picket these politicians, picket these churches that ain't doing the right thing, bring out the awareness and let people know these are our problems right here. These churches, these politicians, these government officials, these are the problems that exist in our community. So until we address these problems, the problems are going to stay here. So people say, Darnell, you crazy. You shouldn't march on such and such, such church. You shouldn't march on such and such, such house. Well, I'm just crazy then. Because when such and such come out of his house, he's going to see us on his lawn. When that church open up, they're going to see us around that church. Until they get involved in what's going on in our community, they're going to be hearing from me. You know what I mean? I would like for them to hear right on the good things, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't feel like I have to go surround St. John's Baptist Church, or I have to surround Calvary Baptist Church, or I have to go surround Mount Olive or Mount Arab to get them to come out and fight against these issues, these ills in our community. Mm-hmm. But that's their job. Right. You know what I mean? What makes them think they can run our churches and run to the suburb and live? I got a problem with that. You know what I mean? If you here, then you live here. When I started this program, man, when I came home from upstate in 1994, I moved on Wright Avenue. I was staying on Moselle on Northland. I moved on Wright Avenue. You know Wright Avenue at? All the way at the end of Delvin, right at the Cheektowaga border. I moved over there. And then I said, no, how can I move over here and care about these people over here? You know what I'm saying? So now look where I moved to. Right in the core of the problem. Where the worst community is where I moved to. And this is the problem that I started attacking inside the core, the eye of the storm. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I chose this area, and I chose that club up there and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But things happen for a reason. I was inexperienced. First time I ever jumped into something like that. But instead of criticizing me, the politicians should have came over there. They should have tried to mentor me. They should have tried to work with me. Don't criticize me. Shut me down because you got a personal problem against me. You done put 300-something kids back in the street. They didn't care about that. That's what hurt me most of all. I can take the pressure. Mm. I don't care about the police, man. I don't care about the politicians. They don't scare me not a bit. Mm-hmm. I'm walking out this house any time of night, any time of hour. I don't fear nobody but God.
The kids.
But it was the kids that suffered.
They really enjoyed that program.
They loved it. They loved it,
man. What kind of
stuff
stuff did they do in that program?
Listen, we had a homework program. They came in after school, mandatory homework for the first hour.
All right.
Then we had a library set up in there. We had a Black History thing every week. We had Channel 18 coming there every Wednesday doing our talk shows like the Montel Williams Show. Mm-hmm. It was live on Channel 18 every Thursday. Man, we had the sheriff department coming in teaching them about drugs and guns. Western New York against alcohol abuse. We had, man, I used to take them to the homes and you know what I mean, take them out to the homes, let them walk through the homes and meet with the kids in the homes, let them see what the kids in the homes going through. That your next step gonna be jail. You know what I'm saying? These are the type of things that we did. Then after that, we let them shoot pool, we let them play ping pong, play the video games. Then we send them home at 8 o'clock. Go home, take a shower, get ready to go to bed in the morning. You know what I'm saying? If you came the next day, you ain't had your homework, you didn't get in. But Friday and Saturday, we gave youth night. We had discos up there every night, Friday and Saturday, for 2-3 years. We never had no shootings, no stabbings, no nothing up there. But they criticized us. Oh, it's a drug hideout. It's a gun-infested club. But every time the police come in there, we had doors wide open, like these doors be, wide open, front and back. Walk in whenever you want to. We ain't got nothing to hide. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it was at the club. They never came up there and found no guns. They never came up there and found no drugs. But you read it in the paper. But nobody was never arrested for it. But this was the bad publicity they give you because then that stopped the people from giving us donations. Oh, well, they got drugs and guns and everything. We're not going to support that. So this is what they did. This is the kind of strategy they used. You know what I'm saying? So after that, we lasted about a good 6 months to a year. And then we shut down. But now we're moving to bigger and better things. And this time it's going to be bigger and better. We won't be dependent on no politicians or no government funding. So that's one problem that we don't have to worry about. When they see us growing, they'll see that there's a need for them to be involved in it because it's something that they should be involved in. And as simple as that. Okay. But I don't hold grudges. I don't have no problem with nobody. You know what I mean? Me and Brian Brown can shake hands today and try to get together on a project. I don't have no problem with that. When you tell me you don't want to touch these type of kids, you don't want to get involved with this kind of community, I got a problem with you. You shouldn't be in them positions.
Darnell, in conclusion, I want you to look straight at the camera and talk to some of our future up-and-coming leaders about how they can go about improving conditions here in the city of Buffalo.
Our upcoming leaders, I would just like to say, one thing that we have to do is to come together, utilize our organizations, networking with one another, putting our differences to the side for the betterment of our community, and keeping it real with ourselves first.
Darnell, it was a pleasure having you here on BCTV
And
tonight.
anybody that want to join Pyro, call us at 897-2359, or just stop by and check our organization out. It's at 28 Barthel, and see what it's like for yourself.
All right.
All right, thank you.